So we're coming to an end on day one, and I want to recap on everything. There was so many of you guys in the live stream, so many questions, and I appreciate every single last one of you guys. But with this playthrough, I wanted to basically show you guys that if you understand fundamentally what roles can be played in this game, you can literally make anything work. So we did just that. And starting out with day one, we were able to get to what I would consider the goal of your first day, which is to be able to get to hard 3, right? Hard 3 is going to be the goal respectively for Terramatan and for Doky Doi. Now, the reason why this is so important is because when you try to shift into the next thing, you can't unlock that until level 25. And in the first day, it's not even possible to get to level 25. So with that being the case, this is going to be one of your goals. Now, how exactly did we get to this point? And I want to talk about some of the shifts and the things that we basically had working against us and for us, right? So let's jump right into it. So let's start out with the summons, because I think that this is definitely one of the biggest pain points that most players are going to experience. I will tell you guys firsthand, I had some of the worst luck in my summons. Yes, I went all the way on my target summons, 40 pulls. Yes, on the limited banner, I went all the way on her banner for Freya, and I didn't pick up any of the units that I wanted along the way, which would have been like Chiaki the Echo for rotation. I would have liked to have picked up Dinah earlier. There were so many things I would have wanted that would have gave me a more optimal start, even with picking the random target summon that I did, but I didn't get it, right? And even then, we were still able to hit the goal of what you want to accomplish in the first day. Now, with that, we decided to actually go with, on the target summon, Rosa. Now, why did we go Rosa? Honestly, it was just to be sporadic. There's no real strategy other than the fact that every single playthrough that I do, I like to play through with a different unit. And I try to make sure that I'm conforming and building things around the choices that I've made and trying to figure out how I can get through or to the next piece of content without necessarily making big investment, I would say, kind of like pitfalls. Now, with that, Rosa, absolutely solid. When we're talking about our Doky Doi, works in some of the earlier Terramatan stages that we need. And she's a big follow-up character. So some of the things I was looking for was like turn meter manipulation. Turn meter manipulators like Chiaki the Echo is going to be great for Terramatan. She literally counteracts a lot of his gimmicks. And she's just a great turn meter pusher, right? Now, again, we weren't able to get her. I went all the way on Freya's banner, so there was that. But we were working with what we got. So when we're actually looking at my character investment, what we currently have built up, we have my Leon, because you have to build her for the quest. We have Freya, and we have Rosa. Those are the only 3 SSRs we have on the account. Now, from here, we were able to get a couple of SRs along the way. Obviously, you start out with Gray, so we were building Gray, still are using Gray. We were able to pick up Kraken fairly early, so that really helped out a lot. We decided to settle with Dorothy as our mainstay healer, which just to prove the point that she can just work, right? And then we alternated in. I had Sutamo for a little bit. I was using Rin for a little bit. I even threw in occasionally Dating and also Victor. But I was running into this crossroad where it was like, well, these characters aren't going to be mainstays on the team this early because I either needed better gear or they weren't really fulfilling the roles that I needed. And remember, this fulfilling roles thing is going to be the most important thing for you to be able to clear content. So for most generalized content, like say for the story, I was just using, the typical Leon. I would use Rosa, and then I would go, say for example, Gray, and then I would also maybe use like my Kraken for the CC, or I would use Rin, right? So I got Rin before I got Kraken, so that's who I was using for the taunt. And then once I got Kraken, I swapped him over, right? Now from here, you're like, well, Zox, it doesn't really seem like you have teams stable enough to really be doing Doky Doi or to even really be doing Terramatan. So this is how we kind of worked it out, right? So with Terramatan, the biggest thing that I was like emphasizing here was that when I'm trying to actually do this dungeon, I want to work with what I have. And this is something that a lot of players kind of miss out on. So we were actually utilizing, and what we can do here, we'll save this formation. There we go. What we were using here initially was like Rosa. We were going with Gray. And then I would say we had Dating. So this was like my team comp I was initially pushing with on some of the stages after I had got Freya, right? So this was my team comp right here. And the thing about this team comp is that, again, it's great, push some solid damage, but it's not going to be enough once you get up higher because things get harder. You're not as hard hitting yet. And you really honestly need to make do with what you have. So one of the biggest things that in terms of understanding what you need, the thing that you have to respect with Terramatan, he's gonna rotate, right? He's going to rotate. So it's in your best interest to make sure that you're able to rotate as fast as possible. And we were not able to pull Chiaki the Echo. So with that being the case, there only left us one option. There's a rare unit in the game called number 41. So we ended up picking up number 41, very, very easy unit to invest in and build, but she has a 35%, which we're only taking advantage of the 30% turn meter push with a 2-turn attack up. So I actually decided to use a rare to actually push. So we actually threw in number 41. And then from here, we realized, okay, Rosa's not doing enough damage because again, she's a disadvantage and she's going to ultimately just get herself killed much, much quicker the higher up we go. So I alternated her out. And as we did more testing, I took Gray out as well. And I decided to actually go with, again, shout out to the chat for the recommendation for just like, hey, use sustain. We threw in our sustainer. And then when I was actually doing a single, I thought about Dinah because I ended up actually pulling her and I had a copy of her already for the damage amplification. So I decided to go for a team comp, remembering again what is necessary: rotations, you need damage amp, and then you need damage. And then the sustain just kind of helps for you to be able to maintain working from turn to turn and just being able to work with the fact of where your gear is, right? So with this team, I was able to basically clear Terramatan hard 3, which is the last one that you could clear at this point. Now, the thing is that with that, I targeted the left arm first and then the main body. And what was really cool about this is that this was all about, and I manual played it, but it's all about the first time clear, because the main thing that you should be following is the hyperlink charter. And the hyperlink charter is going to be giving you all of your resources. And so being able to clear that allowed me to be able to jump into the next thing, which is going to be accessible come tomorrow once we get more stamina. But these things are actually the things that are going to be required for you to be able to progress and get more stamina. I had like more resources. So I had like literally no Etheria coin. And because I was able to clear that actually allowed me to get like 400,000 more Etheria coin, which I had 0. So that was huge. And then it's pushing me into the next portion of the game. And so the thing with this and why I'm harping on this so much is because if you aren't pushing the game's content, you get stuck. And then with that, you don't get resources. The game rewards you for pushing content. So that's basically that, right? Now, we were able to clear Terramatan. Now, Doky Doi was a little bit different because Rosa actually works here. So when we're talking about like hard 2, going into hard 3, I just haven't bothered doing hard 3 just yet. But with that, as I go like passively, I have like the excess to be able to do it. But we have our Kraken here. We have Freya. We're using Dorothy. We're using Rosa, and we're using Leon. Now we're gonna ultimately end up shifting out Leon because her damage is going to start to dwindle. They're gonna start dealing more damage to her, and we're gonna end up throwing in either another rotator just to help out with that momentum, which I think that's kind of going to be the method I end up going here with the sustain. And then from there, I'm allow Rosa to be able to do all the damage, and the extra hits they do, she's just going to be able to follow up and get rid of stuff like this. And that's going to really be able to take advantage of Kraken's lockdown with the CC freeze. So I'm just making do with what I have, right? And as you go up, you can shift things out as you get new things or other things that can maybe give you a little bit more of an efficient run versus what you may have been inefficiently doing. So that alone is going to basically be solving my Doky Doi issue, and we'll be fine there. And again, I'll be capped out for the day at that point. Now, from here, what's really, really important to know, okay? How can you get to the point of getting to level 17 and then also making sure that you're still constantly working on or progressing? So let's talk about a couple of key points. Now, to refer to the point of stamina, okay? How much stamina should you be spending on a regular basis? All of it. You want to refill, okay? All 10 refills you want to do. Ultimately, you want to be able to get to the point of like level 40 to around 50. I really would say safe spot is about 40, where you're going to be unlocking a vast majority of the content. And this is what was bottlenecking in having a lot of players that were stuck because they weren't actually, doing any of the things that were necessary to give them more stamina, which again, you got to do refills, right? So that's number 1. Now, number 2, you need to follow the hyperlink charter. If you're not killing 2 birds with 1 stone, and what I mean by that is when you're doing one thing, you need to also have something else farming in the background. Now, the more common question was, what exactly do you have have farming in the background while you're doing other stuff? Is it EXP? Is it GP outpost? It is whatever the game tells me, right? Now, you are going to have moments, and I mean very, very slim, that I would say in moments where you're not going to have anything to put that stamina towards. So you might do a couple of excess runs in EXP. But for the most part, you're going to have missions that literally say, go win Investigation Club Fantasy 10 times. Go do or defeat Terramatan on hard 1 or above 10 times. So while one is autoing in the background, you're going to be manual playing the other. Now, this, of course, is really, really important to note, because if you're not doing these things, it's going to hurt you tremendously in just how much time you're spending to progress. I mean, granted, if you have all day, sure, but I doubt everybody has all day. And the other thing is, too, is that you don't want to over invest. So definitely alleviate and try to stay away from doing more than of a certain difficulty or a stage than you have to, because that could be stamina going to a higher yield for, higher quantity of XP or GP outputs for your skill up, or it could be, a higher, module drop. So I would never over farm these at this point, right? Now, from here, I would definitely say another really, really important thing that you want to keep in mind is your gear investment levels, okay? So another thing that we were doing, and that a lot of people seen me doing, was I just started plus 12 in gear, right? These are on some of my epic pieces, or my gold pieces, or yellow pieces, if you may call it that, that you need to take it to plus 12. Why am I taking them to plus 12? Is because there actually are missions that I'm aware of preemptively that I need to take these specific pieces to plus 12. Now, are you going to be taking blue and purple pieces to plus 12 or plus 15? Absolutely not. You are not taking those pieces up. Why? Because you can swap off of those pieces fairly easy and very, very quickly. The game gives you a ton of things that are of value, so you do not want to be investing in those things more than you need to. Yes, you can sell them, but you also have a diminishing return or diminishing value there. So if you don't even invest in them in the first place, then you'll be good. That's the other thing I will say too, guys, is that in the early game, and I'll just kind of talk about some of the builds, you want to really fixate on what's going to give that character the most value. So for example, I know in game, Leon uses crit damage, crit rate, and attack, but you're not really going to be able to build her efficiently or effectively with crit damage at this point. So my whole thing is I need to make sure I have enough crit rate first. So before I even put this piece on, I was just running crit rate, attack, right? To get the most value out of her. And then with a damage amplifier, that took my damage even higher. Now, once you start kind of getting more of that crit rate value, and you're, like I said, I'm moving to these plus 12 pieces, I can then start filtering and going more for my crit damages and stuff like that. Because also I'm running gray in a lot of scenarios, so that's another 30% crit rate that I'm going to be getting. But up until that point, if you're not, sound or stable in terms of what sets, or not even just sets, but what stats you're going to have, then you want to make sure that you're not dumping too much into them, because otherwise it's just going to be wasting Etheria coin, and that could be going to a better piece, right? Now, the other thing is too, is yes, you want to sell things. I know people are going to be wondering, how were you maintaining and getting extra Etheria coin? I have sold all of my blue gear, all of the stuff. Like once I started working my way up, you see, I don't really have much purple gear that's just like free flowing. It's actually equipped to someone. So any excess that was outside of my core team, I sold that stuff. Why? Because I'm not equipping it to anybody. I can only realistically build so many units. And by time I'm actually at the point of, like, say for example, like I want to build another character, I'm already going to be farming the next tier of gear, right? And at that point, then that character doesn't care about purple or blue gear. I'm selling it. I'm getting rid of it. And that, again, is return investment. So whatever pieces that you take off that you don't want to hand down, you can sell those so that you can actually get some more Etheria coin back. And that'll help you with leveling up some of the other pieces that you might be, trying to basically take up so you can progress. So again, another thing that's going to be really important as well, guys, is your event tab, achievement tab as well. So the event tab is going to have different missions along the way as you're doing different things, like the candy party, for example. You're going to have the daily check-in that you need to make sure you check on, and the task progress. You can see we've already done 3 of these. These are going to be giving you some of those excess resources that you need on your account. Now, the other thing is too, is we have the commission quest. The commission quest is going to be really important, especially in that first day. You're getting Etheria coin, you're getting EXP, and then you, of course, are getting some extra summons. These are all things that you want. The lethal pursuit, first 3 bosses already done. And then from here, you have the thresholds. These are going to be giving you under the first couple of thresholds, it'll be giving you gear. I've already collected the first 2 here. And then from there, once I'm able to do hard 3 here and nightmare here, I'll get some more gear. And these are going to be like kind of gatewaying you with your first pieces, or amongst your first pieces for you to be able to build into the next rarity or type of gear, right? So there's a lot of value in just simply pushing content. The other thing is too, guys, randomly join a union for the beta. I know some people are like, I had some people ask like, what's the point? What's the entire point? Well, again, you're going to have the ability to get things that are going to allow you to be able to further progress. Like for example, once you get to this 2,500, that's going to be another stamina pot. That's another 100 stamina that could go towards pushing me closer to level 18 quicker. And these are things that you're going to want to take advantage of. These are resetting, I think, like on a weekly basis. And these are going to help you, especially in that initial push, immensely. Now, with that, you're also going to have like things like the Union Shop. Again, perfect latices you can buy in here, EXP, Etheria coin, shadow prints. These are all things that are going to be extremely valuable to you to helping you progress, right? So these are like, again, just some of the base things that you just have to kind of be aware of in order for you to be able to progress efficiently. Now, one of the other things that I would say has actually helped me out a lot is also, again, the roles, right? I cannot stress how understanding the gimmicks of these bosses are going to help you out tremendously, because understanding that if you strip the resistance or the damage reduction buff that Doky Doki's allies are going to have, how much more damage you can actually deal is insane, right? Versus if they have it on. Same thing with Terramatan. If you are understanding to the fact that if you kill that right arm, it's not going to enable the extra turn that Terramatan gets, then you can kind of build into like whatever. For a while, I was actually using Rosa up until the point of doing hard 3. I did everything up until this point with Rosa, an attribute disadvantage character. And it's just to, again, further emphasize that it can be done, but you also have to be aware of like, stat allocation and things of that nature. Now, again, just to recap, one last thing I want to kind of cover here is my skill up investment. This is something I think is really important to note for a lot of players. If you are like trying to consider what skills you want to invest in, I know some players have some questions on that. You need to make sure you're grabbing a lot of these base stat ones, right? And the reason why that is because you need these base stats in order for you to be able to scale your character, right? They're really important to either give you more damage or give you more bulk, sustain, whatever it might be that character does. You want these first few nodes. Now, where you have to make executive decisions is when it comes to the nodes that have a level and a lattice attached to them. Now, I would say, of course, from here, we shift back down and we go into our skill 3 because we want that turn meter manipulation. We want to work into, that turn meter still affected 30% here and there's still chance to being 80, right? So we want that on that skill 3. So we maneuver down this way and we're also getting additional speed here for her. So these are things that you're also kind of looking at. Like, what are the other nodes that I'm getting along the way? Is this node working into this node going to be valuable for the, the immediate investment or return? It varies on the character, but the more that you understand or know, the better, right? Does it have a cooldown? Is that going to allow me to rotate that faster? These are some of the things that you have to think about. Now, of course, with that, this is like, again, super bare minimum. Like, again, when we're talking about units that I have actually invested in, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 units that we actually have somewhat of some sort of investment in. This is, again, ranging from anywhere from like +9 gear. Some gear slots are gear pieces I've been alternating on and off based off of what I'm doing. So I created some presets as well. So this is going to be really, really important so that you can gear swap and you not have to over level. So these are just some of the tips that I'm like sharing with you guys of things I've done, right? Just to help me with progression. Now, the other thing is too, guys, is that I would say, like, when you're looking at like attributes and things of that nature, what should you be like over farming? None of that, right? I haven't gone to any dungeons and like sat there extensively just sitting there all day farming. Like, no, this is just kind of passively playing. I might have had a few dungeons that the game was like, hey, we need you to do this. And then I go and do that X amount of runs. And you'll organically get a good chunk of resources to help you with progressing. I think one of the things that you just have to get better at, or that will really help you with your progression, is understanding where and what's going to give you the biggest investment yield, right? So that's basically that for the first day. Again, we have a ton to still accomplish, but we got to get to level 25, and we've worked quite a bit. Now from there, guys, like I said, this is bare bones, showing you like the worst case scenario in a lot of regards. Your progression should be much more simple. You should be much further. If you went with the Tiamat push, then you should be going much more crazier. But like I said, I really wanted this to be a, kind of in different progression, just kind of showing if you know the roles, you'll be able to progress. So we're going to have another video getting into day 2, of course, talking about some of the things and adjustments that we made, but make sure that you guys come through to the live stream, man. If you guys have any additional questions, don't be afraid to ask in the comment section. I'll try to get back to as many of them as possible. There were so many questions, and it's much easier for me to be able to answer a lot of them live because I can see them visibly in the moment. So like I said, guys, definitely make sure you guys come through. Appreciate all of you guys, man. We are literally almost at 30K subscribers, so I really, really appreciate you guys. But that's going to be that with this one, guys. Everyone, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.